Hard racing, crashes, and heartbreaking finishes topped the weekend in racing from across the world. From Monaco to Indianapolis to the Coke 600, this Memorial Day weekend was one for the drama section. I'm Michele Rahal with Motorsports Unplugged and motorsportsunplugged.com, and this is our Memorial Day weekend wrap-up. Dale Earnhardt Jr. and J.R. Hilderbrand couldn't have imagined that they would both have so much in common after yesterday. In the Coke 600, which is usually a bore fest, the racing began to look more like Grand Am or Le Mans endurance races. Used to be you took your time and settled in and worked slowly towards gaining position. Not anymore. Endurance races are flat out from start to finish. And so was last night. From the moment the green flag fell, they went at it as hard as they could. As evening fell, the cars got faster and so did the consumption of fuel. In the Coke 600, fuel always plays a role in the strategy. Well, last night it was Dale Jr.'s turn to meet the dying engine on the last lap of the last turn. Kevin Harvick sped by in just a quarter of the tri-oval. He took the win. Earnhardt said he was disappointed, but he knew that he would either be lucky or run out of fuel. Well, Harvick didn't complain about taking the win, and Earnhardt, to his credit, didn't complain about losing. He feels like he's back in the hunt. The poor guy couldn't buy a break before. Harvick knows he's headed to the chase, and the net of all this is that the race was better than expected, the finish was a cliffhanger, and Earnhardt might just shut up some of his detractors. The guy threw it all at the flag, and that is a true driver. To say that the Grand Prix of Monaco was the best GP at the tiny principality I've ever seen is an understatement. And I remember when it was shown in black and white. This race is almost always predictable. Narrow streets, impossible to pass, a few wrecks here and there. But this year it was all up in the air. You knew something was different when qualifying was interrupted by a scary crash by Sergio Perez. That effectively put Vettel on the pole. And it looked like a runaway when the flag fell. Well, it didn't happen. Vettel made a surprisingly early stop and actually managed his prime tires to almost double what they should be able to take. Once Vitaly Petrov crashed with 6 laps to go among a sea of back markers and the 3 leaders, it looked as if the race was going to be called, but it wasn't meant to be. The race was restarted and the field was allowed to change tires. Hey, my opinion, they shouldn't be allowed to touch the cars on a red flag. The pressure that Alonso and Button were able to put on Vettel vanished. 3 world champions and 3 Monaco winners sat on the royal podium. Vettel chalked up another win and inched his way closer to becoming a young Michael Schumacher. My pick was Lewis Hamilton, and it might have been his worst day ever. Congratulations to Sebastian Vettel. You'd be hard-pressed to find an Indy 500 that could top the 100th anniversary running at the Brickyard. Dan Wheldon was fast all weekend, but nobody gave him huge odds to win. After a full across-the-board implosion of strategy execution by Penske, it looked as if the Ganassi gang was going to run away with it. But with fuel mileage coming into play, it wasn't meant to be. The hardest thing for a driver to accept is a mistake on the last lap on the last corner of the Indy 500. J.R. Hilderbrand, a rookie, made the same mistake that took down a number of drivers. The notorious Turn 4 took absolutely no prisoners. If you tried to pass on the outside of another car, the air was taken off of you and you ran wide and hit the wall. Well, that was the case for Hilderbrand. He was trying to go easy around another car. He ran wide, hit the wall, slid across the finish line in second. Wheldon barely beat the crashing Hilderbrand across the line. Well, the British driver was overcome with emotion because no one would give him a ride this year, and then Brian Herta stepped up to the plate. Herta and Wheldon had been teammates. Wheldon's mother, who's been diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, was glorified by her son in victory lane. You can only hope that the momentum from this race will carry over for IndyCar. But the harsh reality is that the IndyCar has built its entire brand around the Indy 500. Is that sustainable even in the face of a great race with great attendance and even more than likely great television numbers? Who knows? Only an uptick in viewership and general interest over the next few races are going to tell. All in all, it was drama-filled, emotional, from heartbreaking to elation. Damn good race, damn good race. I'm Michele Rahal with Motorsports Unplugged and motorsportsunplugged.com. We hope you enjoyed your weekend, and we'll see you next time.